Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
There are ways to accomplish the infrastructure with current spending and cutting elsewhere.
We're not discouraging people from getting vaccinated. We're encouraging people to make decisions for themselves. They'd rather investigate the January 6th event where already 500, 600 people have been arrested. There's a reason why people are flocking to Florida to have their kids in schools so they're not forced to wear masks all day long.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. Tom, Benny, Clark, and you. Lots to talk about. The rain has started. It will be around for the next 36 to 48 hours. Apparently, there's a low coming up the coast, and the thing to watch out for is there is warnings of flash flooding throughout eastern North Carolina, so beware. Some sad news to report. A couple of officials in our government have passed away suddenly and unexpectedly. WNCT is reporting that sheriffs throughout eastern North Carolina are expressing their condolences after news broke yesterday of the Jones County Sheriff Danny Heath passing away unexpectedly. He was only, I think, 52 years old, born January 12th, 1969. Lived in Jones County his entire life, except for when he was serving his country in the United States Navy. And there was supposed to be a press conference earlier this afternoon in Jones County to go into the details. I haven't had a chance to find out what they have said. We'll try to get that and pass that on to you. Also, the News and Observer is reporting Jerry Carter, who was in the North Carolina House, he passed away. He apparently has been suffering this summer through a rare bowel disease and passed away. He was also a chaplain of the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, a man of deep faith and faithful prayer. So said Tim Moore, who said he was heartbroken and devastated by Carter's sudden death. We'll feel Jerry's loss deeply in the North Carolina General Assembly. My prayers are with Jerry's family as they grieve this great loss in the days ahead. He was 66 years old. So two deaths very suddenly and unexpectedly. The big news across the nation, Andrew Cuomo.
The gold standard for governors.
The gold standard. That's exactly what
Joe Biden
said. Mm-hmm. He was the gold standard. He couldn't do anything wrong. A great guy. Great guy. Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women and then retaliated against a former employee who complained in violation of state and federal law. New York Attorney General Letitia James had a press conference earlier today outlining the 165-page report. Here is Letitia James from earlier. It's about 11:30 this morning.
The independent investigation has concluded that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women, and in doing so violated federal and state law. Specifically, the investigation found that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed current and former New York State employees by engaging in unwelcome and non-consensual touching and making numerous offensive comments of a suggestive and sexual nature that created a hostile work environment for women. The investigators independently corroborated and substantiated these facts through interviews and evidence, including contemporaneous notes and communications. This evidence will be made available to the public along with the report.
According to Cuomo, they're lying. The Attorney General probe included interviews with 179 people, found Cuomo harassed current and former staff members for 7 years, from 2013 to 2020. And but Cuomo says, no, they're all liars. The individual who really got this ball rolling, former staff member Lindsey Boland, first one to come forward with allegations detailing encounters with the governor in a Medium post back in February. I mean, it's amazing. This is the guy. Now, of course, you know, he also has to deal with the nursing home scandal, where he forced nursing homes to take in COVID-positive patients, which basically knocked off a bunch of elderly folks in nursing homes across New York. But 11 different complaints, 179 interviews, and doesn't look good. And liberals and conservatives both are saying it's time to resign.
I think the entire New York delegation has said he should resign.
Is that
I believe. Right? And Joe Biden's press conference on the way in, listened to it on the way in the station, and he said he should resign. He said, well, I think he said back in March that if the Attorney General recommends
if he's found guilty, he needs to resign.
But, you know, I mean, these stories have been going around for at least a couple, 3 years, but the press have left it alone, just like they do every other Democrat.
Exactly.
And it'll be interesting tonight on CNN to see what Fredo Cuomo, what's his brother's name? I call him Fredo. Like
Chris.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, see if he's hands off on this tonight. And he's actually been...
He's been busted on this.
He's been kind of linked to some things. I read some excerpts from the AG's report, and it's like...
he's brought up in the report.
Yeah, he's like an enabler or...
He certainly worked against the women and for Andrew. So, she actually points out in the report that it is pretty obvious that Chris Cuomo helped write documents that the governor released proclaiming his innocence. So he writes it up, and they've got emails. They've got the emails that Chris Cuomo sent to the governor's office saying this is what you need to say. And, of course, even beyond that, he had the governor on his program multiple times. And, you know, it was a big...
big love fest, yeah.
A big love fest, and both dealing with the coronavirus in the nursing homes as well as the sexual allegations. And, of course, Chris Cuomo is... I mean, look, both these guys are liars.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Cuomo came out and said, I had nothing to do with Andrew Cuomo's defense. And it is very obvious through the emails that he was writing up the talking points for his brother.
You know, I'm just amazed at people that get caught with emails and texts in these investigations.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one day I'm not going to be caught doing something, but it's going to be a wire. It ain't going to be a freaking email and a text. I mean, this just doesn't make sense. I mean, that stuff is so easily accessible, but
as if it doesn't exist, and if I delete it, nobody's going to find it, or there's no video of me saying this, that, and the other. I mean, these people are national figures. Anything that they say in public is recorded.
Now, I wonder tonight on CNN's coverage, will they ask the legal analyst, what's the guy's name? Is it Tobin?
The Tubin,
yeah.
the man that did the dirty deed on Zoom.
The what was the Seinfeld ism? Using his body for an amusement park. We'll just leave it there. But
and everybody was there to view it all.
I wonder if they'll have him as a legal analyst talking about it. I mean, imagine that.
Yeah. About the guy that
a guy that was caught in a Zoom meeting. Well,
you know what,
doing the business.
The most blatant accusation comes from one woman that apparently Cuomo actually placed his hand up her blouse and groped her. Now, what he did wasn't nearly as, I mean, it was a violation of law. He broke state and federal law. It wasn't as violent and horrendous, perhaps, as what Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of. But
or Joe Biden's accusations.
Well, that's true too. That's true too.
I mean, Joe Biden.
What was the girl's name?
Tara Reid.
Tara Reid. Yeah.
According to Tara Reid, instead of going through the blouse, he went up the skirt.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get graphic, but that's what she said.
Exactly.
And not a single question about that at the press conference today. President Biden, can you relate to these accusations since Tara Reid? I mean, that's a valid question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, not necessarily saying that you did it, but you can relate to these accusations. Yeah, you don't think that would have come up if it was Donald Trump and a Republican that was accused? Oh my goodness.
Think about it. You're not going to have an AG in And, well, I guess if it occurred in D.C., I mean, who would handle it? I don't know how that works legally. But you wouldn't have an AG that would even cross that with Joe Biden. But
So Cuomo has denied touching anyone inappropriately, but when he met with investigators, he admitted he may have kissed certain staff members on the lips. Last I checked, that is touching inappropriately. I mean, it might not be groping with your hands, but an unwanted kiss on the lips? Now, I mean, you see all the time where someone sees an old, a platonic relationship where a male meets an old female friend from way back when and gives a kiss perhaps on the cheek, but an unwanted, okay, that's enough of the sound effects, an unwanted kiss on the lips, I don't think so. I think that's qualifies as touching inappropriately.
she ought to have kicked him into, you know what?
That would be touching inappropriately. Anyway, it was interesting too, though. Elisa Stefanik called for the governor to step down and face criminal charges. Now, again, the Letitia James said these are not criminal charges against the governor, but there could be criminal charges. I mean, the local, I guess it would be the local DA, would decide, like whoever's the DA in Albany could take this report and file criminal charges against the governor. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be shocked, and it's really going to depend who the local DA is, but it wouldn't shock me if that happened.
Well, if it occurred in Albany, you can guarantee that DA is a Democrat.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Let's see. She said, no one is above the law, and today justice must be served. Governor Cuomo must resign and be arrested immediately, Stefanik said in a statement. One of the women that came forward was what was her first name? Her last name was Liz. Liz, who alleged that Cuomo frequently called her sweetheart or darling and had kissed her on the cheek and hand while she worked as an aide in the executive chamber, responded to the investigation's findings by thanking those who supported her. Thank you to everyone who expressed support out loud in whispers. And then she goes on to say, and for the hugs and hand squeezes and texts. If I was, now look, I'm not defending Cuomo at all, but for the hugs, I mean, she's thanking people for the hugs and the hand squeezes, and yet she came forward and accused the governor of these same things and called it harassment. Again, I'm not defending the governor because there's enough other evidence out there that this guy was up to no good. But it just is a little interesting. I mean, in this day and age, the things that you used to be able to do in a relationship, and when talking about complimenting, well, my, you look nice today. Mm-hmm. I like that new dress on you. I mean, you can't say that kind of stuff anymore for the fact that, that's sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
You're ogling me.
I was probably, probably the first generation, professional generation that experienced the sexual harassment training because of the Clarence Thomas hearings. Happened late '80s or whatever, and
yeah, that was 86, was it?
Yeah, probably a little later than that. Wasn't
it? 88,
88 or 89, but it certainly was. There was certainly a sea change in the corporate environment, and honestly, it should have been. I mean, I've witnessed things that I've told people were inappropriate before, but it looks like this guy's been doing it his whole career because there's people that have talked about it for years, and I think he runs New York like a mob boss.
He comes across that way.
Yeah.
He comes across that way. I mean, it really does seem like the Cuomo mob family.
And it's amazing how the Democrat, I mean, they are piling on him now when it was clear that he was going to be their next candidate for president.
Oh, yeah. Biden said not only was he the gold standard, but he'd make a great president.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were grooming him, and I guess he'll be out.
Now, it's interesting you talk about them as like being a crime family or part of the mob. The Free Beacon is reporting 2 of Cuomo's top lieutenants, interesting way to describe them, recruited the president of the Human Rights Campaign to obtain a confidential personnel file on one of the governor's accusers, which led to multiple media outlets. According to a bombshell report released by the New York Attorney General, this is part of Letitia James's report, Richard Asbarati and Melissa DeRosa directed the release of information about Cuomo accuser Lindsey Boylan. Boy, you can see the lawsuits coming out of this. After she publicly accused the governor of sexual harassment in December of 2020. Cuomo sexually harassed at least 11 female employees. The report also accuses Cuomo's advisors of overseeing a culture of fear and intimidation. The report is likely to lead to calls for Cuomo to resign. According to the Attorney General's report, DeRosa requested Boylan's file from Alfonso David, a former Cuomo legal advisor who is now president of the Human Rights Campaign, a pro-LGBT organization. DeRosa sought the information after Boylan tweeted on December 9th, 2020, that Cuomo was one of the biggest abusers of all time. Her allegation led to a tidal wave of accusers coming forward to describe sexual harassment they faced while working for the Democratic governor. David, who took over the Human Rights Campaign in August of 2019, sent Boylan's file to Azzaparati on December 11, 2020. David testified he kept Boylan's records after leaving government service because it may have been the only instance where he actually involved in a counseling of an employee when he was in the executive chamber. Now, what's fishy about this, okay, listen, why would they know to go to this guy, Alfonso David? Why would Alfonso David keep the personnel file of this one individual? Now, he says, it's because that was the one example of when I counseled somebody. I mean, is anybody going to buy that? And this is the one, and I guarantee, I mean, look, connect the dots. And if I connected, I'm speculating here, okay? But if I would connect the dots, I would say the governor said to him, hold on to that information that you have because I have done something that I might need a get-out-of-jail-free card.
And I wonder the legality of him holding on to that file.
Major lawsuit.
Yeah.
But then it's personal and confidential. Then he gives it to them, and then they release it to the media? This woman is never going to have to work another day in her life.
Yeah, and the mainstream media, I mean, they have been so transparent about their bias on this story for months that, you've heard nothing about it. If it weren't for this AG report that came out today by a Democrat governor, I mean, they have to cover it. But, I mean, they've been completely silent when these things have been circulating for so long. And
now, I have to say, too, as you bring that up, this Letitia James is a Democrat. I've got to say, kudos to her.
She's running for governor.
Well, kudos to her. I mean, look, she might have an ulterior motive.
Oh, they all have ulterior motives. It's politics.
Benny Hardy with his editorial comment of the day. Hey, we got to take a time out. We're over time. Stay with us. Lots more to talk about. Love to hear from you. 561-8255. We'll be right back.
And our location is one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Passalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit topdogonline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Just a reminder, there is a flood watch for just about all of eastern North Carolina, and it's going to rain pretty much all night tonight and all day tomorrow and into tomorrow night. The sun does come back out on Thursday, and Friday and Saturday, a chance of rain. So anyway, it's looking a little wet. Be careful, especially if you're seeing a large puddle in front of you and you decide to go through it. It might be a little deeper than you think. Weather brought to you by our friends at the Ironwood Golf and Country Club, voted best golf course in Greenville 2 years in a row. Ironwood Golf and Country Club boasts an 18-hole Lee Trevino design course, full-service dining and outdoor pool, tennis, and more. Our newly renovated 15,000-square-foot clubhouse is the perfect place to make new traditions with your family. For a limited time, join Ironwood, pay zero initiation fees. Give them a call, 252-752-4653. Find out what makes Ironwood the best of Greenville, 252-752-4653. Be a part of the best, Ironwood Golf and Country Club. And, you know, I know that the summer, it's hard to believe that we're in August already. Summer's winding down. The best time to get out and play golf is in the fall. I mean, it is just low humidity, temperatures are great, and that is my favorite time of the year to get out and hit the ball. The Carolina Journal is reporting the Senate's top officer is continuing to highlight his concerns about the agenda of the anti-racist summer camps and teacher workshops tied to the Durham public school system. Anti-racism sounds nice. Who wouldn't want to be an anti-racist, says the news release from the Senator Phil Berger's office. But the doctrine of anti-racism and outgrowth of critical race theory teaches adherents to view everything in the world through the lens of race. The basic problem with anti-racism is that it advocates discrimination based on race. According to the news release, Berger focuses on a recent WRAL report about summer camps and workshops run by the group We Are, short for Working to Extend Anti-Racist Education. They partner with Durham Public Schools to impose a doctrine on students and teachers, according to Berger's release. An organizer for We Are told WRAL their work is critical right now, with there being so much pushback on this critical race theory, according to the news release. You know, it's going to be interesting to see, because there will come legislation that will basically say you're not going to teach critical race theory in our public schools. But there will be things like this that will continue to happen to try to get around that.
Oh, yeah, they'll massage the title, massage the chapter titles, but it will be the same Marxist BS. That's
Same. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better.
No, it's here to stay, and they. I think the Democrats are embracing it. I mean, have you heard a single Democrat come out and oppose this critical race theory in schools? I haven't.
No.
Certainly not on a national level.
The senator cited things like these teacher and student training exercises and summer camps shouldn't come as any surprise. Durham city government authorized and endorsed a report calling on teachers to host in-class conversations about, quote, white privilege and how white people can be supportive of anti-racism. There you go.
I hate to speculate what certain people would, where would they fall in this, but there's absolutely no way, I don't think, based on all the readings of Martin Luther King, that he would embrace this.
Oh, no, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I just don't believe it.
Ben Carson, just over the weekend, said that exact same thing, that, okay, let's judge people by the content of their character and not by the color of the skin. And critical race theory says the opposite. It's the color of your skin that matters. I mean, who would have thought that we would have that kind of statement coming from, quote, tolerant liberals? First and Freedom is reporting, headline, here we go again, Charlotte expected to pass woke LGBTQ non-discrimination ordinance for small employers. And again, it's amazing how these liberal agendas, give them credit where credit is due. They are experts on naming themselves and calling their bills the opposite of what they really are. We're anti-racist, and how are we going to promote our anti-racism is we're going to accuse every white person of being a supremacist.
Based on the color of their skin.
Yeah, based on the color of the skin. When it comes to discrimination, okay, we're going to pass this non-discrimination ordinance for small employers. Well, this is HB2 all over again. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what it is. So this non-discrimination for the LGBTQ community will include. This is the doubling down of the bathroom bill, and now it's going to be applied to businesses as small as 15 employees. And so at the end of the day, they're going to reintroduce the bathroom bill, and they're going to basically shove it on you whether you want it or not, and there will be all kinds of fines if you don't obey it. There's only 2 conservative Republicans on the city council in Charlotte. One of those was a guy named Ed Driggs. He said of this proposed legislation, you have to be prepared that any action you take against them, talking about small businesses, or any future or any failure to promote them on anything else is going to result in some sort of protest, legal action, or whatever. So in other words, what he's saying is, okay, look, if a business fights your legislation that you're promoting here, that person is going to be targeted, that person is going to be, or the business is going to be canceled, and you're basically introducing the protest to come onto this business person or this business. This is particularly important for these smaller employees because they just don't have the resources. They don't have the time to show up at all these hearings. They don't have the lawyers. They don't have the ability to defend themselves against these actions. And here's the bottom line on this. You look at these cities that are run by Democrats throughout the country. Why do you think people are just leaving Chicago, leaving L.A., leaving New York City as fast as they can? New York City is down with some 40% from where it was like 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And this is what you want to introduce to Charlotte? I mean, right now, Charlotte is a thriving city. You bring this kind of garbage in there, it's not going to be thriving for very long. It's amazing how short-sighted they are.
Yeah, you look at the city councils for Charlotte for the last few years. I mean, they've gotten progressive, I guess. And I think to the point of no return because, you've got so many people out in suburbs and actually municipalities other than Charlotte, they may work in Charlotte that I think Charlotte in terms of policies will soon become the next Baltimore or Chicago or Detroit.
D.C. or Philadelphia. I mean, they're all in trouble. Yeah. They're all in trouble.
And yet, the Democrats have been doing this for 50-plus years in these major cities. They have been absolutely destroyed. And yet they want to take that plan and implement it across the United States. Yep. California is a failed state because of their policies, and they want every other state to be like California.
I was thinking today, we ought to be grateful that we're not in a major metropolitan area. I mean, we have these small to mid-sized towns throughout eastern North Carolina: Jacksonville, New Bern, Kinston, Washington, Greenville, Elizabeth City, Edenton. You know, some are small, some are mid-sized. But it's so refreshing not to be in a Baltimore, which is where I grew up. I have zero desire to ever go back. It is because you have the crazy people in charge, the people that have no common sense, the people that want to implement all this radical, nonsensical behavior. I am so glad. And my hunch is you're going to see, unfortunately, fortunate or unfortunate, you're going to see a lot of these smaller cities begin to see their population increase, because there's going to be a lot of these people that in New York. Well, here's a New York story right here in my hand. New York Today unveiled their new key to the New York City Pass. The program on Tuesday announced that you're going to have a health pass providing evidence of immunization against COVID-19 in order to enter some indoor settings. The New York Times reported New York City will become the first U.S. city to require proof of vaccination for a variety of activities for workers and customers, including dining, gyms, and performances. To put pressure on people to get vaccinated, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced Tuesday morning. Now, look, this is just going to be, for some people, they're going to say, that's it. I've been waiting for an excuse to get out of this blankety-blank place for a long time. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. And again, no mention of any antibodies. In other words, no mention of natural immunity. You've got to have the vaccination.
You know, out west, people from where I was on vacation in Idaho and Montana, I mean, people are flocking from California, Oregon, and Washington to Idaho and Montana, escaping these crazy policies, these dangerous cities, and that type of thing. And the same things happen somewhat in North Carolina. Tennessee is another big place where people are moving from the Northeast and some of the cities in the Midwest that have crime issues. Tennessee and North Carolina is booming because we still have a majority of sane people in the state.
I just heard... it's my daughter who lives outside of Charlotte. She says the problem is if you live in Mecklenburg County, where she lives, but not in Charlotte proper, you can't vote for the Charlotte City Council. Only people who live in Charlotte proper, where your more conservative people live in Huntersville, Cornelius, Matthews, those areas. But we can't vote for the Charlotte City Council, even though they are Decatur County does. I guess she's talking about a different county. I guess she's referring to Atlanta, perhaps.
I think so, because I don't know of a Decatur County in North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's
in Decatur County, you can vote for the City Council of Atlanta, I guess is what she's saying.
I guess so, but I know, Atlanta especially. Charlotte's somewhat like this, but Atlanta especially is, it's a pretty sprawling city area.
You know what's interesting about this, though? So. De Blasio has come out and saying you got to be vaccinated. We're going to have basically a pass for you to get, to indicate you've been vaccinated, and you're not going to be able to do certain things if you don't have the vaccination pass. Not a antibodies pass, a vaccination pass. But according to recent data provided by the city indicates that more than 60% of all New York residents have received at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine, while 55% are fully vaccinated. As of Monday, officials had recorded 10,015,459 total doses administered in New York City. Black New Yorkers, however, have the lowest vaccination rates in the city, as only 35% have received at least one shot. 31% are fully vaccinated. So is this a racist policy? Is he targeting blacks? If this was a shoe on a Republican's foot, they would be crying racism right here.
I got a little bit of debate with someone earlier this week about those statistics. And, I argued that, hey, the voters that voted for Biden overwhelmingly, the black population did, black population in New York did. The data is clear. Biden and Harris was saying very clearly in October they wouldn't trust a vaccine. Now, you think all of a sudden now you're going to go back and and trust it when they you know people are pretty smart. They know when you're just playing politics, and Biden and Harris and the Democrats. COVID has been all about politics because they're the same party that said Donald Trump was a racist for implementing travel bans way back when. So I don't see how anybody could trust anything coming out of the Democrat Party's mouth, really.
By the way, my daughter just texted me back. She says, sorry, it's supposed to read that even though they dictate our policies, not Decatur County. Oh. Read it before you send it there, girl. Because it'd be Fulton County in Atlanta anyway, right? Where's Decatur County?
There's actually a Decatur outside of Atlanta.
Is it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fulton County is Atlanta, though.
Yeah. Hey, we got to take another timeout. When we get back, there's an interesting article out in The Spectator that questions some interesting things when it comes to COVID. Stay with us. We'll have that when we get back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing is LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
And a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and fullserviceflooring.com.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's Got to Be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
If you're vaccinated,
you must wear a mask.
Why?
We need to get people vaccinated.
Telling people who are vaccinated to wear a mask doesn't get more people vaccinated.
Confusing the kids and the parents even more. Get the facts.
Get the correct information.
Eastern Carolina's news source is News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Interesting story out of The Spectator. The Blaze picked up and ran with this as well. The New York Times basically they quashed the COVID origins inquiry. And this is from a top editor that worked at the New York Times. They instructed the Times staffers not to investigate the origins of COVID-19. 2 employees have confirmed this. In early 2020, a veteran Times reporter and an employee told The Spectator, I suggested to a senior editor at the paper that we investigate the origins of COVID-19. I was told it was dangerous to run a piece about the origins of coronavirus. There was resistance to running anything that could suggest that COVID-19 was man-made or had leaked accidentally from the lab. And basically, this story goes into two reasons why. One, because it would make Donald Trump look good. Two, because China was financially running editorials that were paid, and paying big bucks to the New York Times to run these advertorials. The New York Times is on very, very shaky financial ground. I mean, if you look at the New York Times building, which used to be entirely occupied by the newspaper, they only occupy a couple of floors now, and the rest is being leased out. The rest is probably mostly empty, but they're trying to lease it out because they are in financial woes.
And imagine, for years, newspaper families were some of the wealthiest in America.
Yeah. Not anymore. So the two reasons: Donald Trump, we don't want to make him look good, and two, they're buttering our bread.
Yep.
It is sad where we are. It is sad that there's obviously we have conservative journalists now, but it's sad that we have so many people that have enjoyed the American dream, that are doing everything they can to work against the freedoms that we have and work for the Chi-Com.
Yeah, can you imagine if the media world had not been, basically turned upside down the last 10 or 15 years with online sources and that type of thing? I mean, can you imagine the news that people would be getting now? Because the major networks and all the major newspapers are liberal across the country. Can you imagine if that was people's only source now?
Yeah.
And which now Google is trying to
make that happen. Yeah.
I mean, that's clearly been done by Google and other online platforms.
Alexandra Stevenson was the Times Hong Kong reporter. She said of the idea that COVID was man-made, she called it, quote, the kind of conspiracy one once reserved for tinfoil hatters. That's your New York Times. And, of course, now Trump is gone, and now the Chinese government has stopped their paid advertorials, and now you're beginning to see the New York Times begin to say, well, maybe it was man-made.
Well, it's failure of the news media, but back even further than that, it's a complete failure in my mind of public health, because they have, whatever was anti-Donald Trump, they were so emphatic about things that no, it's a wet market. Joe Biden just a few months ago, May or June, let me repeat myself, if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Well, you can't walk that back now and say, this is an ever-changing thing that, we really don't know about. Say that up front instead of, why would the people trust them unless you're willfully ignorant?
Interesting article out of Mercola.com. Dr. Joseph Mercola, medical doctor, he has put together a really interesting article. Now, I will say that, and it comes from reliable sources. This was originally published out of the King's College in London, which operates the ZooCovid study app to monitor COVID infections and vaccination rates. It has actually found that the increased number of people that are coming down with COVID, there's actually more people coming down. The numbers are slanting in the direction that there are more people coming down with a second dose of COVID who are for some, it'd be the first case of COVID, that have been vaccinated than the unvaccinated people. There's actually a study out a while back from Barbara Lowe Fisher, co-founder of the president of the National Vaccine Information. She came out in an interview in 2011 saying that she described the evolution of bacteria to evade vaccines. Quote, every life form wants to live, wants to survive, universal principle. and viruses and bacteria are no exception. And when you put a pressure on a virus or bacteria that's circulating with the use of a vaccine that contains a lab-altered form, that virus or bacteria, it doesn't seem that it would be illogical to understand that that organism is going to try to fight to survive. It's going to find a way to adapt in order to survive. So, and again, okay, this is speculation here, but some pretty well-renowned doctors have said this is a possibility, that the vaccination is actually causing the COVID in the body to say, okay, I need to adjust myself as a new variant. Mm-hmm. Again, this is interesting stuff, but the numbers they've studied in Chile, where there's a high number of vaccinations. They've studied in Great Britain, where there's a high percentage of vaccinations. There's a couple of other countries in there as well. Israel was one of the countries, and they were saying that they confirmed that 55% of the newly infected people in Israel, for example, have been vaccinated. So, here's the other thing about this whole thing is we are in such the early stages of this, and because it was such a horrendous pandemic and it was taking so many lives, we jumped where normally you would be testing these vaccines for years. Mm-hmm. It was weeks, and so we don't necessarily know what the final outcome of all this is going to be. I'm just bringing you the story, okay?
China does, because they created it.
Well, that's true too. Hey, we got to take another timeout. We'll be right back.
Got a trade? Now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Never in history has your trade been worth more. Get paid today. Then get a new Toyota hot off the delivery truck. Hurry before they're gone. Like Camrys, $189 a month. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Anything could happen ever since I met you.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
This one's for everyone who spends the amount of time it would take to watch a movie, agreeing on which movie to watch. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Toyota shoppers, now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Shipments of factory fresh Toyotas are arriving daily and being sold almost immediately, like Corollas for $159 a month. Get yours before they're gone. Now's the time. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Eastern Carolina's place to talk about coronavirus.
It's on the police.
Everything.
Give me liberty or give me COVID-19.
Right now, more news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Fox News is reporting the genius of D.C., Maxine Waters, is pushing the CDC to extend the moratorium on evictions that began early on in the coronavirus. Now, the CDC came out on their own. I mean, no authority, no power to do this, but the CDC came out and said, okay, we're going to make sure that nobody is evicted during this pandemic, and so therefore we're pronouncing by the CDC that you can't evict anybody. And, of course, the White House picked up and ran with it and whatnot. The Supreme Court came out and said, you can't do that. Yeah. That's illegal. You have no power to do that. You're not a legislative body. You have no standing.
To me, I would think that would be very elementally clear.
You think?
To most people.
Maxine Waters today came out and said, well, you need to do it anyway. Ignore the Supreme Court. Just go ahead and do it anyway. We did it once. The Supreme Court came out and said you can't do it again. Maxine Waters just came out and said, I don't buy that the CDC can't extend the eviction moratorium. Something has already been done in the past. Who's going to stop them? Who's going to penalize them? Well, that's part of the problem, is nobody is ever personally held accountable. She said there's no official ruling saying that they cannot extend this moratorium. Yeah, there was. It was called the Supreme Court. And this is interesting because these are the same people who, when it comes to abortion, are quick to come out and say, wait a minute, Roe v. Wade is the established law of the land.
Yep.
You know, the courts have proclaimed abortion is established and legal, and you can't change it. But when it comes to the CDC and this moratorium on evictions, Maxine Waters says, go for it. Unbelievable. Hey, we got to run. We'll do it again tomorrow at 5. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's got to be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.
Anything could happen ever since I met you.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.